Most people think gaslighting is just lying. It's not. It's something far more dangerous. Gaslighting is what happens when someone doesn't just deny the truth, but slowly convinces you that you can't trust your own mind. And the most unsettling part is this: the people who fall for it are not weak. They are often intelligent, empathetic, and self-aware, which is exactly why it works. The word gaslighting is everywhere now. People use it to describe toxic relationships, manipulative bosses, controlling partners, even entire institutions. But almost no one knows where the term actually came from. It didn't come from psychology textbooks. It didn't come from therapy culture. It came from a movie, a black and white film released in 1944. And once you understand what actually happens in that film, you'll realize something disturbing. Most people still don't recognize gaslighting when it's happening to them, not because they're naive, but because the tactic is designed to feel invisible. The film is called Gaslight, and it didn't invent the tactic. It exposed it. The story seems simple at first. A young woman lives with her husband in a large London house. Everything appears normal, loving, even. But slowly, strange things begin to happen. Objects disappear. Sounds echo through empty rooms. And every night, without explanation, the gas lights in the house begin to dim. When she points it out, her husband calmly tells her she's mistaken. When she insists, he gently suggests she's confused. And when she becomes emotional, he doesn't attack her. He comforts her, while quietly using that emotion as proof that something is wrong with her. This is where gaslighting begins. Not with cruelty, not with rage, but with calm denial. Gaslighting is not about convincing someone of a single lie. It is about making them question their ability to perceive reality at all. And the film shows this with chilling precision. The husband never needs to shout. He never needs to threaten. He simply positions himself as the authority on what is real. And over time, the woman begins to outsource her own judgment to him. This is the first phase of gaslighting, undermining perception. You notice something feels off, a comment, a contradiction, a broken promise. And when you bring it up, you don't get an explanation. You get dismissal. That didn't happen. You're remembering it wrong. You're being dramatic. And because the response is delivered calmly, confidently, and repeatedly, your mind starts to hesitate. Not about the situation, about yourself. Here's the psychological trap. The human brain craves coherence. When your perception clashes with someone you trust, most people resolve the tension by doubting themselves, especially when the other person appears composed, rational, and certain. The film understood this long before modern psychology gave it a name. As the story progresses, the husband escalates. He hides objects, then accuses her of losing them. He moves items, then insists she misplaced them. Every piece of evidence she brings forward is reframed as further proof of her instability. This is the second phase of gaslighting. Weaponized evidence. This is where gaslighting becomes truly dangerous, because now the victim is trapped in a feedback loop. Every attempt to defend themselves becomes evidence against them. The more they insist, the more emotional they appear. And the more emotional they appear, the easier it becomes to label them irrational. At this point, something subtle but devastating happens internally. The victim begins to self-censor. They stop bringing things up. They stop trusting their instincts. They start asking permission to feel certain ways. This isn't submission. It's psychological self-preservation. And this is why gaslighting works best in close relationships, romantic partnerships, families, work environments, anywhere trust already exists. The film delivers one of its most disturbing insights here. The husband doesn't just isolate his wife physically, he isolates her psychologically. He ensures that when she doubts herself, she turns to him for reassurance. The very person destabilizing her becomes the only anchor she feels she has. This is the third phase of gaslighting. Dependency creation. Once dependency is established, control becomes effortless. The victim no longer needs to be convinced. They begin policing themselves, reinterpreting reality automatically to avoid conflict. And by the time they sense something is deeply wrong, their confidence in their own mind has already been eroded. This is where many people misunderstand gaslighting today. They think it's just lying, or disagreement, or emotional invalidation. It's not. Gaslighting is a sustained psychological strategy designed to destabilize your sense of reality so that you become easier to control. And this is why the term exploded decades after the film's release. People finally had language for something they had lived through but couldn't explain. Here is the most important lesson the film teaches. Gaslighting only works if you believe the other person has more authority over reality than you do. The moment that belief cracks, the spell weakens. Near the end of the story, the woman finally receives validation from an external source. Someone who sees what's happening and confirms that she is not imagining things. And something remarkable happens. Her posture changes, her voice changes. Fear gives way to clarity. The manipulation collapses not because the husband stops lying, but because his lies stop defining reality. This is the psychological exit point from gaslighting. External validation is not weakness, it is recalibration. In real life, gaslighting rarely ends with a dramatic reveal. It ends quietly, with distance, with boundaries, with the slow rebuilding of self-trust. But the internal shift is always the same. The moment you stop asking, "Am I crazy?" and start asking, "Why am I being made to feel this way?" you begin to regain control. The legacy of the film Gaslight is not just a word, it is a warning. Psychological manipulation does not always look like abuse. Sometimes it looks like concern. Sometimes it sounds like logic. Sometimes it feels like love. But if you find yourself constantly doubting your memory, your emotions, or your perception, not because of evidence, but because of someone else's insistence, something deeper may be happening. Gaslighting is not about weakness. It is about proximity. It happens where trust exists, and the moment you trust your perception again, the lights stop dimming.